Hello, everyone. We are here to inform you on a pressing concern that affects us all in the digital age, data breaches. As our reliance on technology grows, so does the risk of unauthorized access to sensitive information. In this presentation, we will dive deep into data breaches, examining their impact, and most importantly, strategies for prevention and mitigation. Let's embark on this journey together to safeguard our data and protect our digital assets. So my name is Annabelle Alex Chicas, and today's agenda is what we're going to do is understand what a data breach is, stats on how many breaches occur in the US, why they occur, different types of data breaches, how data breaches happen, the types of data that's usually stolen, protection against data breaches, notable data breaches to date, and future trends as technology evolves and advances. So what is a data breach? It's a security incident where a cybercriminal gains unauthorized access to sensitive and confidential information. Usually, therefore, financial gain is the primary motivation, but sometimes state agencies do so in a cyber warfare tactic. As you can see, from 2005 all the way to the last year of 2023, there have been more data breaches in staggering amounts where millions and millions of records and data have been exposed. Also, the impact on millions of individuals.
Hello, everyone. My name is Charles. So why do data breaches occur? Well, there's a few factors. One, poor security practices. Sometimes sensitive information, employees would send sensitive information unknowingly or accidentally to unauthorized users. Some updating systems is another thing where a lot of the updates you get in your software, such as like your Windows or your Excel, these updates usually patch types of security flaws that there are, and malware, where uh, employees or users would either open suspicious links or files which contain malicious content. Other threats are external threats. These can be hackers, criminal organizations, and ways of social engineering to persuade people to either give up sensitive information. Internal threats, these could be disgruntled employees, contractors, people working as like espionage to infiltrate a company or a business to gain information. And types of data breach attacks. As mentioned before, we got malware and ransomware, where these types of viruses and programs are sent in through emails, attachments that seem to be legitimate, social engineering, where people would try to gain information from authorized personnel in order to bypass systems or gain access to confidential information. We also have stolen login credentials, where through either from social engineering or other methods, users are able to, or malicious actors are able to steal sensitive information to gain access towards maybe databases or customer information. There's also human error, where let's say a employee leaves some sensitive information out in the open. For example, maybe an employee at a supermarket or a or any type of business, and exploiting system vulnerabilities, where let's say a company hasn't updated their systems in a while, and there's a lot of cracks in the walls, ways to bypass security systems. So it's always best to keep uh, your business or enterprise well updated with the latest software.
So usually the types of data that are usually stolen, it's personal identifiable information or sensitive personal information, such as the person's name, address, phone number, email, social security number, their date and place of birth. All of these informations, they can really exploit them and either send phishing tactics or try to get credentials. They could access protected health information, health records, history of treatments, insurance policies, information and accounts, as well as intellectual property, intangible assets such as patents, copyrights, trademarks, franchises, trade secrets, and digital assets. Financial and payment data, debit and credit card information, payment activity, which banks they use, and credit score. This is a big key factor. Most of them, as stated earlier, they are looking for financial gain. Usually they get ransomware of this type of data and information from companies and personal information. Uh, they do also go for business critical data, sensitive data such as mergers and acquisitions, buyback of stocks, sell of stocks, customer and employees data. All of these could really impact the business if information gets leaked on what their moves are, or if they're not meeting regulation standards, stuff like that. It could really impact the reputation for the companies. And lastly, they could get for their operational data, the sales report, source code, follow to run the infrastructure, suppliers and data centers, legal documents. They can attack these places. They can attack the suppliers or the data centers to halt the operations, and which results in millions and millions of dollars lost.
My name is Brian Ledesma, and there are many ways to protect against data breaches. Some are pretty well known, as in having a strong password or just conducting your normal software updates that also help protect you. But some ones that really impact to that protection the most is probably the first one is encryption, which would be utilizing a high grade encryption to scramble sensitive data with unique codes, making it very unreadable for hackers to actually get into. The next one is access control, which is really just the principle of least privilege. The next one would be multi-factor authentication. So similar to what we use for like our typical ASU login. That example would be like Duo Mobile. So just using one of those tools or apps to make that second authentication to ensure that it's you actually logging into your account. A big one that a lot of companies should implement, in my opinion, would be like cybersecurity awareness training, which would really just be like explaining to your employees of like an example of a phishing email and what to do if you receive one and things alike. Another one would be an incident response plan, which is basically just having a clear plan in place so that an organization can quickly respond to a data breach and minimize its impact. So basically just how you react to a data breach in case one ever happened. Not many people know how to react to one, or if they fall under a data breach, no one really knows. So making sure you have a plan in set in case that happens is probably of utmost importance. A few notable data breaches. There's multiple that have affected many people. The one of the biggest ones is the Yahoo data breach that happened from 2013 to 2016. It impacted over 3 billion users' accounts. Basically, the attackers went after the Russian hackers in particular targeted Yahoo's database using backdoors, stolen backups, and access cookies to steal records from all the users, which included like names, email addresses, phone numbers, birth dates, a lot of personal information. That was pretty infamous just because of how big and popular Yahoo email was used during that time. That's why a lot of people use like Gmail and stuff like that more now. Another one that affected a different industry would be the First American Financial Corps, which impacted around 885 million people, or they accessed 885 million files in particular. And this more focused on like bank account numbers, bank statements, mortgage payments, documents, driver's licenses. So something you wouldn't really think people would be able to get to, the hackers were able to get to. Another big one that's a little bit more recent is the Real Estate Wealth Network. This one impacted around 1.5 million people or individuals. Basically, a New York-based online real estate education platform was exposed, and they were able to get names, addresses, phone numbers, property history, court judgments, buyer and seller information, mortgage information, HOA liens, like everything that has to do with the real estate market. And no one really knew that this could affect your mortgage or bankruptcy information. So luckily, there's future trends now that we've learned from these data breaches. So we can actually protect ourselves and more companies can protect our information from others.
Hey everyone, my name is Fernando Beltran, and this slide will quickly talk about future trends in cybersecurity and data protection. Cybersecurity is constantly evolving. It's driven by advancements in technology and the increasing sophistication of cyber threats. It's essential for us to stay ahead of these changes to effectively protect our data and systems. Some of these most promising trends shaping the future of cybersecurity include the integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning in the security operations, restorative environment, the adoption of zero trust architecture to enhance security frameworks, and the growing importance of data privacy and the user consents in our digital world. Understanding these emerging trends help us better prepare for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Let's see how these innovations are transforming cybersecurity and what they mean for the future of data protection. One thing I also forgot to include in the slide was the technology, which is quantum computing, which will be a threat for companies, and it's also going to be a tool that's going to be used by attackers such as the red team, and defenders and blue teams within organizations, and that's something important that we also need to talk about, and something to keep an eye on for future trends. In conclusion, or our key takeaways, we can review some key insights about data breaches and go through everything that we talked about in this presentation. These incidents involved unauthorized access to sensitive information, underscoring the critical importance of cybersecurity and protecting our data. Breaches occur due to various causes and vulnerabilities within systems, such as poor security practices, such as weird passwords and lack of encryption are common factors, which if you notice, it's users. Users are the number one target for hackers and vulnerabilities. Additionally, external threats from hackers and criminal organizations constantly evolve, finding new ways to exploit these vulnerabilities. Like before we talked about quantum computing, it's just technology that will always change and advancements always come. Internal threats also play a significant role, whether through employee negligence or malicious actions by insiders like contractors. The type of data typically targeted in breaches are extensive. We have everything from personal information, health records, financial data, and intellectual property are highly looked at for cyber criminals due to their value, depending on the market. The consequences of losing such data can be severe, including identity theft, financial loss, compromising sensitive business information, and of course, reputation of that company. To mitigate these risks, it's essential to implement robust protection measures, such as we talked about, which was strong security practices, such as complex passwords and encryption. Regular system updates are crucial to patch vulnerabilities and prevent exploitation by malicious actors. Equally important is also employee education. We know that human error is a significant actor in many breaches. By focusing on these areas, organizations can greatly reduce the risk of impact of data breaches. Thank you.